Have you ever stopped to notice how much of your life has already been sold off? Not stolen, sold. You handed it over piece by piece every time you showed up just to get by. You wake up tired. You drag yourself to a job that barely feels like yours. You tell yourself this is what life is supposed to be. But deep down, you know it isn't. This isn't freedom. This is survival dressed up as responsibility. And the cruelest part? You agreed to it. You shook the hand. You signed the papers. You nodded yes when the world told you this was the path. You didn't notice the chains because they weren't made of iron. They were made of paychecks, made of security, made of promises that if you grind now, you'll be free later. But later never comes. This is the slavery of our age, not of the body, but of the spirit. Unless you wake up to it, you'll spend your best years shackled to a system that never intended to set you free. That's why I made this video. Not to comfort you, but to confront you. Because until you face the truth, you'll keep living as if chains are normal, and you were not born for chains. Look at your life, be honest. How much of your time is truly yours? 8 hours at work, 2 hours commuting, a few hours at night where you're too drained to do anything but scroll or numb yourself, then sleep, then repeat. That's not a life, that's a sentence. You think you're working for money, but really, you're working for permission to live in a certain box, to eat a certain food, to rest for a handful of hours before it all starts again. And here's the truth you don't want to face. Nobody forced you into this. You accepted it. You normalized it. You learned to call it being responsible. You're not in chains because you're weak. You're in chains because you stopped questioning them. The Stoics would tell you, slavery isn't just being owned by another person, it's being owned by anything outside yourself. A paycheck, a boss, a clock, the approval of others. If those things control your mood, your choices, your sense of worth, then you are not free. And if you're honest, that's you. You measure your days by how much you get done for someone else. You give your best energy away and keep the scraps for yourself. You let the system tell you what you're worth, an hourly wage, a performance review, a promotion dangled like a carrot. But here's the harsh truth. As long as you let work control your spirit will wither. It won't happen all at once. It happens slowly, quietly, until one day you wake up and realize the person you might have been never had a chance to breathe. And that's the part that should scare you. Not the long hours, not the small paychecks, not even the grind. What should terrify you is how normal it all feels. Because once slavery feels normal, you stop looking for freedom. Think about it. When was the last time you created something just for yourself? When was the last time you woke up excited, not anxious? When was the last time your life felt like yours, not like a schedule someone else built for you? That silence you feel right now, that's the sound of the chains rattling. And I'm not saying this to make you despair. I'm saying it because despair is the first crack in the illusion. The first moment you see the cage for what it is. The Stoics believed that freedom begins not when the world changes, but when you change your relationship to it. You can't always control the system, but you can control your spirit. And once you reclaim that, the system loses its grip. This is where the journey begins, not with rage, not with escape plans, but with clarity. Seeing your invisible chains for what they are, refusing to call them normal, refusing to keep trading your spirit for survival. Because once you see the chains, you can choose. And choice is the first act of freedom. You've seen the chains. You feel them every morning in the weight of the clock, the dread of another shift, the numb scrolling before bed. But here's the question you need to face. Why do you keep wearing them? It's not just habit, it's not just fear, it's belief. You believe in the lie, the oldest, slickest lie in modern history. The lie that sounds so noble, you almost feel ashamed to doubt it. Work hard, and you'll succeed. That's the myth that keeps the machine running. That's the sugar that hides the poison. And I need you to hear me clearly. Hard work alone will not save you. From the time you were a kid, it started. Teachers, parents, commercials, and preachers, everyone repeating the same hymn. If you work hard, if you keep your head down, if you don't complain, you'll have a good life. The white picket fence, the steady job, the golden retirement. But look around. Do you see it? Do you know anyone living that story? Because most people don't. Most people are drowning. Most people are grinding harder than ever and still can't breathe. You know this. You see it in your family, your neighbors, maybe even in your own reflection. The myth isn't real, but it's powerful. It keeps you obedient. It makes you swallow injustice because you think tomorrow will be different. It makes you believe suffering has a payout. That's the leash around your neck. I watched the lie destroy someone I loved. My father was a farmer. And when I tell you he worked, I mean worked. Sunrise to sunset, back bent, hands blistered, sweat soaking through his clothes before the day had even begun. He believed in the promise. He believed if he just kept giving his strength, if he just kept pushing, eventually there'd be rest. Eventually there'd be reward. But the reward never came. The land gave crops, but the system took the profit. The bills stacked higher than the harvest, and the years kept taking his body while giving nothing back. When he died, he didn't leave behind wealth or comfort. He left behind exhaustion. He left behind a lesson carved into my bones. Hard work without freedom is just another form of slavery. And I'll tell you something harsh. If you don't wake up, that will be you. Your kids will look at your life and see the same story. Years of grinding. Nothing to show but a tired body and dreams that never breathed. This is what you need to understand. The system doesn't care how hard you work. Work hard at the wrong job. You're replaceable. Work hard in the wrong system. You're disposable. The world doesn't reward effort. It rewards leverage, ownership, strategy, control of your own time. But they never taught you that, because if you knew it, you wouldn't sit still. You wouldn't stay obedient. You wouldn't keep trading your life for scraps. Marcus Aurelius put it plainly. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. But the world twisted it. They told you wealth comes from more hours, more grinding, more possessions, and every more becomes another shackle, another reason to keep working, another excuse not to question the treadmill you're on, the treadmill you can't see. Let's strip it bare. You work hard for a paycheck. That paycheck funds debt, rent, subscriptions, distractions. Those costs keep you chained to the next paycheck. And when you try to step back, you panic because you built a life that only works if you keep running. That's not prosperity. That's slavery with Wi-Fi. And deep down, you know it. You've felt it. That quiet moment when you realize the raise didn't change anything. The promotion didn't fix the emptiness. The new car didn't make you free. It made you work more hours to keep it. That's the scam. You are always running, and they are always collecting. So let me ask you directly, how many years have you already given away to this lie? How many birthdays missed because of a shift? How many nights where your soul wanted to create, but your body was too drained? How many times did you say, just a little longer, and realize longer turned into decades? That's the mirror. Look at it. Stop turning away. Because until you admit it, you'll keep repeating the cycle. You'll keep telling yourself next year will be different, while living the same year over and over until the years run out. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." And that's exactly what the lie makes you do. Waste your one life believing that suffering equals salvation. Let's make it plain. Hard work without ownership equals exhaustion. Hard work without meaning equals emptiness. Hard work without boundaries equals slavery. Every day you keep buying into the myth, you're trading your spirit for someone else's gain. You're putting your soul on clearance. And the world is happy to pay pennies for it. And don't think I'm saying you shouldn't work. Work is natural. Work can be sacred, but only if it's aligned with your purpose. Only if it builds your freedom instead of chaining it. The problem isn't work. The problem is slavery disguised as work. So now the question shifts. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep grinding in the same direction, waiting for prosperity that never arrives? Or are you going to wake up and admit the truth? That prosperity doesn't come from obeying the system. It comes from reclaiming your time, your spirit, your creation. This is the crack in the illusion, the first real moment of power. Because once you see the lie, you can't unsee it. Once you admit the promise is false, you stop waiting for a rescue. You realize no one is coming. And that's when freedom begins. You've seen the chains. You've seen the lie that keeps them locked tight around your spirit. And now you're asking yourself the only question that matters. So what now? Here's the truth. Freedom doesn't always start with explosions. Most of the time, it starts with whispers. You think freedom means quitting your job tomorrow, selling everything, burning it all down? But that's another trap, another fantasy to keep you paralyzed. Because when you imagine rebellion as one massive leap, you never leap. It feels too big, too impossible. So you stay chained. But rebellion doesn't begin with fire. It begins with sparks. Small, deliberate acts that prove to yourself, I am not owned. Rebellion can be as simple as waking up an hour earlier to work on your dream before giving the day away. It can be saying no when you've been trained to always say yes. It can be refusing to measure your worth by productivity charts and performance reviews. It can be creating something, anything that belongs only to you. Do you see it? Rebellion isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's invisible. But every small act stacks, every refusal builds, and soon you're no longer just working a job, you're building a life. The Stoics understood rebellion better than most because they lived in a world where true freedom often seemed impossible. Epictetus was born a slave, but he said this, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus himself can overpower my will." That's rebellion. Not waiting for the world to set you free, but choosing freedom in your own mind every single day. When you practice that, the system loses power. It can chain your time, but not your spirit. It can take your energy, but not your purpose. So don't wait for the big break. Don't fantasize about the day everything magically changes. Start small, start now. Refuse one distraction. Reclaim 1 hour. Create one thing that nobody can take from you. That's rebellion. And once you taste it, you'll want more. Here's the secret. Rebellion is contagious. The more you practice it, the stronger you get. You start realizing you don't have to say yes to everything. You don't have to drown in meaningless work. You don't have to keep giving your life away piece by piece. Every small act is proof. Proof that you are not helpless. Proof that you are not just another cog. And when you have proof, you build belief. And belief is the engine of freedom. So now you've seen it. Freedom doesn't begin with rage. It begins with refusal. But here's the next step. You can't win by fighting the system head on. That's what it wants. Your energy, your rage, your life force. The way out isn't brute force. It's strategy. You don't beat the system. You use it. You bend with it, redirect it. You slip through its fingers while it still thinks it owns you. That's how you crack the code. And that's where we're going next. Rebellion was the spark. But sparks alone don't burn down the machine. They fade unless you turn them into fire. And fire needs direction. Fire needs fuel. Fire needs strategy. Here's the truth. You can't outpunch the system. You can't outgrind it. That's what it wants. Your force, your energy, your life force until you're nothing but ash. The system feeds on your struggle. The more you fight it head on, the tighter its grip becomes. So if you want freedom, you don't fight harder. You fight smarter. Think about it. The employee who gives 20 loyal years discarded in a single email, the hustler working 3 jobs, still broke, still exhausted, the activist who burns themselves out fighting every injustice, yet the system stands tall. Force alone doesn't win, because the system was designed to eat your force and spit you out. Marcus Aurelius said it plainly. The cucumber is bitter, then throw it away. There are brambles in the path, then go around them. That's enough. Don't demand to know why such things exist. In other words, stop demanding the system be fair. Stop demanding it reward your suffering. It won't. You don't waste your energy fighting the storm. You learn how to sail in it. Picture Tai Chi. You don't meet force with force. You yield, you redirect, you flow. Your opponent pushes, and you let them. But you guide their energy away from you until their own strength defeats them. That's the mindset you need with modern work. You don't crash into the system head on. You learn its rhythms. You see its patterns. And then you redirect its weight toward building your life, not theirs. Instead of letting the system drain you, you flip it. You use its resources to buy time, skills, leverage. That's how you move without being caught. Let's make it practical. Use the paycheck as fuel, not identity. Your job isn't who you are, it's a stepping stone. Use it to fund your freedom, not define your life. Extract skills. Every role teaches you something: leadership, communication, tech, creativity. Don't leave those skills trapped in your job. Redirect them into projects that serve you. Play the long game. While others chase overtime, you invest your spare energy in building something that compounds: a side business, a craft, an investment, your health. Detach from status. The promotions, the praise, the titles, they're bait. They keep you chasing their ladder. Don't climb their ladder. Build your own ground. That's what it means to use the system without being used. The Stoics lived this truth long before us. Epictetus had his leg shattered in slavery, yet he said, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus himself can overpower my will." Seneca served emperors who could kill him with a glance, but he trained himself daily to let go of wealth, to stand ready to lose everything. Marcus Aurelius ruled the largest empire in the world, yet reminded himself every morning that power and titles mean nothing if you don't rule yourself. Do you see the pattern? They walked inside the system, but the system never walked inside of them. That's the Stoic edge. That's the mindset you need. Freedom doesn't always look like quitting. Sometimes it looks like showing up, doing the work with dignity, then leaving without giving a single drop of your soul beyond what's required. It looks like reclaiming the hours after work and turning them into creation. It looks like redirecting the skills you learned in their world into building your own. It looks like teaching, selling, investing, creating, all while they think you're still just another cog. That's not fantasy. That's how the free move inside the cage without letting the cage move inside them. But let me warn you, comfort is the velvet chain, the paycheck that covers your bills, the small luxuries that numb your hunger, the predictable schedule that makes you feel safe. Comfort doesn't free you. It sedates you. And that's all the system needs. It doesn't need to crush you. It just needs you to accept good enough. Don't, because good enough is how chains get polished instead of broken. The Stoics spoke of the inner citadel, the fortress inside you that nothing external can touch. That's the true battlefield, not the office, not the paycheck, not even the system. If you control your mind, your wants, your discipline, your choices, the system becomes weak. It can touch your body, but not your will. It can take your job, but not your vision. It can demand your time, but it can't own your spirit. That citadel is your final defense. And once it's built, you can walk anywhere, even inside the machine, and still be free. So let's strip this down. 1, stop worshiping the job. It's a tool, not your identity. 2, reclaim your hours, even one a day, redirected to freedom. 3, extract and repurpose skills. What you've learned belongs to you, use it. 4, detach from their ladder. Stop climbing what was never yours. Build your own ground. 5, fortify your citadel. Guard your thoughts, guard your time, guard your spirit. That's the code. Not rage, not blind rebellion, but strategy. So here's the mirror one last time. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not doomed to live and die a modern slave. But if you keep waiting for the system to reward you, if you keep believing the lie, you'll waste your life in chains. It's your choice. Will you let the system keep feeding on your energy, or will you bend it, use it, and walk away free? Don't say you'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow is the same leash with a different date. Start now. Start with one refusal. Start with one act of rebellion. Start with 1 hour that belongs to you. That's where freedom begins. And if this spoke to you, if you're ready to stop living as a slave and start living as a creator, drop it in the comments. I refuse to be a slave. Say it, claim it, live it. Because freedom doesn't start with the system changing. It starts with you.